Kathleen McBride is here to talk about Ozarks Writer's Block, and you are a writer, and you said earlier that you're not a talker, you're a writer.
That's right.
What's the difference between the two?
Well,
you got more time to think about what you want.
This is true, and when I ramble around on the keyboard, nobody knows it but me. I can go back and delete it all, but when I'm talking, once those words are out there, there they are.
Yeah. Now, what do you like? Do you like to write about characters, or tell me about what you
I like to write
about.
Fiction. Yes, I write fiction. Yes, and I have done some articles, nonfiction articles for the regional magazines, Ozarks Mountaineer, Ozarks Magazine, the Ozarks Reader. I've done some short stories. I've had those published in Woman's World, which you probably see at Walmart when you check out. Kansas City Voices, the storyteller. And
there's people that make a living doing that.
Yeah.
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 Are you one of those people?
Well, actually, I'm getting ready to be. I've got 2 books under contract right now.
Good.
Wonderful. And one will be coming out the first part of next year at some point. And the other one is still, my agent is still working with the publishers on that, but I should be getting a contract from those guys any day.
Awesome.
What separates a good writer? And I would assume that you're a good writer because you're. Yeah. Okay. All right. Confidence, I would assume, makes a good point to being a good writer. What's the difference between a good writer and someone that's not a good writer?
I think experience, really.
Life experience?
Well, experience writing. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't hone that talent, and if you don't get some technical details in your background, learning how to put it together, you can come up with some awful junk.
Yeah. As far as, you mean just grammar and that kind of thing?
Well, use that, but I always tell writers who are going to do fiction, throw out everything you learned in school because it doesn't apply to fiction. Now, if you're going to do nonfiction, yes, you need to. Yeah. And you do need to know how to spell and use proper grammar and
But you've got to be descriptive. I mean, you've got to make that person see what it is that
and there's a technique to that. You can't just sit down and say the sun came up and expect your reader to see the sun coming up. On the other hand, you don't want to say something like, the golden orb in the eastern sky oozed above the horizon with shots of light surrounding them, dripping clouds of color. That just...
Wow, that was awesome.
That was terrible. That's purple prose. You need to have a middle ground there between just saying it and over-describing it. And it's what we like to call show, don't tell.
And that's where the experience, I guess, helps.
Yes, and there's no way to get experience except just to write every day. I've been doing it for many years.
Now, I know that Ozark Writer's Block, too, allows you the chance to get with other writers and give feedback to your work and that type of thing, which is probably very beneficial.
Yes, the Ozark Writer's Block, I call it a support group because we support each other. We bring our work once a month to read aloud to each other. We give positive criticism, and then we give a critique on ways that we feel like maybe this character is not true to what the writer meant to say, or oh, you changed his eyes from blue eyes to brown eyes, you know, this sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And we welcome anybody who wants to write, you know, poetry, nonfiction, fiction, beginner, amateur, burgeoning, professional, whatever you want to call it, if you want to show up.
Do these sessions help you? Right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just by getting a different perspective, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. I think no writer is ever good enough that they can't benefit from someone saying this stinks if it really stinks. I don't want someone to say, oh, that's good, and when it's lousy. Yeah.
Have you ever read any published works that you thought, well, this is not very good?
Just about everything on the bestseller shelf right now. Yes.
Is that right?
Why
is that? Why do you feel that way?
I think probably the bestsellers are written by authors who are so familiar to the public that the editors know that they're going to buy it no matter what it is. And I believe it skips over the editorial department and straight into the publishing without any interventions in between to make it.
The content may not be what it should be.
But this person had to have written something good in
you
early
would think,
years.
You would think, I read some of it and I say, how in the world did this person get here? And then you do a little background search and you find out that, well, their uncle's wife's cousin, you know, was has pulled some strings.
So it's who you know in certain situations.
You really need to be in the right place at the right time, especially here in the Ozarks where we're kind of tucked away. Yes.
Well, how important is an agent? You talked about having an agent.
Real important, I think. Of course, you have to have a little background and you have to have a little publishing experience. Most agents don't want to take you on. Now, that can be a catch-22. They don't want to publish you if you don't have an agent. An agent doesn't want you if you haven't been published. So for anybody who's trying to go for that, I would say start with the small markets first, write some articles, regional articles, short stories, things like that.
And build a resume.
Yes, get some things under your belt and then go on an agent search.
I want you to tell when the Ozark Writers Block meets, but then I want you to talk a little bit about your book that is being published.
Well, I can talk a little bit about that. The Ozarks Writers Block meets on the first Monday night every month at the St. John's Episcopal Church, Parish Hall, Commons Room.
Okay.
I think I got all that in there.
Okay.
And you wanted to know...
And your book, I want to know. Yeah. Just give us a little teaser so we want to go out and buy it.
I can tell you just a little bit. It's at this point, most of it's in a confidentiality thing.
Of course.
So I can tell you a little bit.
Here, it doesn't matter.
No,
let us be first.
Yes. The book that is coming out next year, the first of next year, is being published by Annie's Mysteries, which is... the publishing company are the ones who do Annie's Attic and the Good Old Days magazine and those.
Okay.
And it is in a series of books set in Maine, Stony Point, Maine, where Annie is the main character who discovers all kinds of intriguing things in her grandmother's attic in an old house that she inherited.
Okay.
And so my book is tentatively titled The Deed in the Attic. I think that's what it'll be published under, but we'll see. And then the other one is an Ozarks. I call it an Ozarks romp. It was actually written for adults, but when the editors got a hold of it, they wanted it turned to children's books, and so we're going to turn it to a children's book. And that's not hard to do because the main character is a child.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, good.
It sounds like you're having fun with this.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Well, great.
Well,
we're glad that you're being successful at it.
Thank you.
And come back when it's published.
I sure will.
I like to dig in a little more. That's fascinating.
Bring that autographed copy.
I will. I'll bring it and I'll go.
Well, you heard it. We get an autographed copy.
You bet.
Well, let us know again about the Writer's Block. It meets first Monday of each month.
At 6 p.m. at the St. John's Episcopal Church.
And if you're interested in writing, this is probably the best place to get started.
Absolutely, yeah. And I love to help new writers, and I'll be glad to help anybody who wants to come and get some help.
All right, Kathleen, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Up next, our friend Vivi Allen is going to be here to talk about Voices of Glory and some other things. Stay with us.